Hey everyone, new piece of information breaking out of that big SNC Lavalin scandal that's been going on for weeks. As we can clearly see, it's definitely not even close to being over just yet. Headline out of CBC News Politics: Public Prosecution Service sends provocative tweet about political influence. This being reported by John Paul Tasker, March 7, 2019. The Public Prosecution Service of Canada, PPSC, the independent body that prosecutes federal offences and has played a role in the SNC Lavalin affair, sent a tweet this morning saying its lawyers must be free to do their jobs without political influence. So like I said, folks, this story is still unfolding. And I think it's going to get a whole lot worse for the federal Liberals. I mean, it's already bad enough as far as I'm concerned. Enough that there should be a 0% chance of Justin Trudeau or the federal Liberals being in power, especially and in particularly after the October elections. The tweet comes one day after the Prime Minister's former principal secretary, Jerry Butts, and Michael Wernick, the most senior bureaucrat in the country, testified before the Commons Justice Committee that they did not inappropriately pressure former Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould to negotiate a deferred prosecution agreement, DPA, with the Quebec engineering firm after the PPSC refused to do just that. And that's the most important point, is the PPSC, and in addition to the decision of Jody Wilson-Raybould, all determined that SNC Lavalin did not qualify. Therefore, this piece of legislation brought in the omnibus budget bill by the federal Liberals, it was not even conducive or available based on the history of that very corrupt corporation. That is ultimately what this scandal is completely about, is the fact that Jody Wilson-Raybould was unwilling to yield her sense of upholding the rule of law. Because at the end of the day, folks, let's not let all this political posturing and spinning by whether it's these politicians or the media pundits, let's not get obscured to the fact that SNC was not deemed viable or eligible for the DPA in the first place. That's why all these people within the PMO's office were busy and desperate trying to deny that reality or trying to circumvent the rule of law in this country. Wilson-Raybould testified that she felt political motivations, namely the Liberal Party's electoral fortunes in Quebec, were behind the push to secure a DPA for the large Quebec corporation. And of course, that's the case. And Trudeau and the rest of his minions and his lackeys have basically come out and testified that, yeah, it's all about, ooh, they're going to protect the jobs. So who cares about the rule of law if it's about protecting some jobs for people in Quebec? But I guess not. You got to stick 100% to the rule of law if you're someone out there in the oil patch, right? What is it? 100 and some thousand of them have lost their job? 9,000 sounds like a big number, but 100+ thousands a lot bigger. And besides, these people, these 9,000 people that work for SNC Lavalin, listen, if an infrastructure job comes up, well, these people still know their skills, right? They just get hired from a different company. It's not that their skills are going away anytime. It just means they won't be working for SNC Lavalin. So this constant fearmonger that all these people are just going to lose their job, like I said, we've already heard. I mean, the Liberals have been out there talking about why you think they have this mass influx of immigration, this push for mass immigration, because there's a skill shortage in this country. So listen, if there's going to be 9,000 skilled laborers out there, it won't take too long to fill those positions. Now will it? No immigration needed. Just one more problem solved if you stick to proper market fundamentals and the rule of law. A spokesperson for the PPSC said today the tweet was not related to the SNC Lavalin affair. Kathleen Roussel, the director of public prosecutions and the head of the PPSC, decided not to pursue a DPA for SNC Lavalin and to proceed to a criminal trial on fraud and bribery charges. The Prime Minister's office was concerned by this course of action, fearing a guilty verdict for the firm could lead to financial ruin and massive job losses. Wilson-Raybould has said she should have been free to make a final decision without interference. The tweet was sent shortly after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau himself expressed regret over how the whole affair has unfolded. So there you see, there's the tweet by the Public Prosecution Service of Canada. Prosecutorial independence is key to our mandate. Our prosecutors must be objective, independent, and dispassionate, as well as free from improper influence, including political influence. So it sounds like they're basically repeating or regurgitating more or less what Miss Raybould said herself. Justin Trudeau, he really messed up trying to play identity politics, try to play that game. Now he's seeing how it's not just going to come back and bite him in the ass and will probably ultimately bring down his entire government, but has also shown the rest of us what a foolish, foolish endeavor it is to play a game like that. While the Twitter account for the prosecution service was first created in January 2019, it only posted its first message on the social media platform yesterday. The PPSC Twitter account launched this week. A number of pre-written tweets explaining a little about the PPSC and its work are scheduled over the coming weeks. Natalie Houle, a spokesman for the PPSC, said in an emailed statement to CBC News. The spokesperson said the tweet is not related to the SNC-Lavalin controversy, and there is no pressing concern about the independence of prosecution in Canada. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer said today that while he agrees with the sentiment expressed in the PPSC's tweet, it's very troubling that federal prosecutors felt the need to issue a statement like this amid the SNC-Lavalin uproar. And actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking it a little bit more, I mean, this could be another excuse basically to lay fodder for this new guy, Michael Wernick, because I do know that they're trying to lay cover, some political cover, to even give SNC-Lavalin that get a jail-free card, even after all this, even after how this story is unfolded, where the original Attorney General or those who were in charge of prosecuting SNC-Lavalin, they said no. SNC-Lavalin didn't meet the requirements or parameters that would allow them to have a DPA offered to them, but apparently the Trudeau Liberals are trying to still find another way. They're still trying to double down and find a way to give this corrupt organization, this corrupt corporation, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Maybe that's what this tweet is all about. I don't know. Like I say, I can't pretend to know what's going on in the minds of these people, but I can tell you it's definitely further evidence that this thing is completely political in nature and detrimental for the very concept of having anything even remotely resembling the rule of law or fairness. Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video below. But that's another thing we got to talk about, folks, when you're talking about fairness, is think about the many other, the thousands of corporations out there, especially in the construction trade or industry, that don't have this get-out-of-jail-free card, right? They've had to go through some pretty harsh times. Well, once again, just look out Alberta. Just think of how many construction firms just in that one province alone that have had to go through some serious financial restructuring or hardships or downfalls. That's been pointed out many times already. Nobody seems to be care about, well, especially those from the federal Liberals. Nobody seems to care about what's happening out in Alberta. But boy, he sure does care about SNC-Lavalin out of Quebec, and point out the fact that he is from Quebec, a Quebec MP himself, right? Like I said, folks, this is the problem with big government. It's all about picking winners or losers in the economy. Hey, if you're one of those people that are in government favor, I guess that's good for you. For the rest of us, not so much, right? Quite devastating, actually, for anyone that thinks that they can go out there and try to compete. No wonder the entrepreneurial class, the innovation class, and those who are economically ambitious seem to always go to the U.S. rather than try to do anything in this country. And with this kind of revelation, can you blame them? It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.